I want to give the highest honor and the glory to Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rawchaa, Qadash. Yahawah is the name of the Father, Bahashem in the name of, Yahawashi the Son, Bahashem in the name of, Rawchaa the Spirit, Qadash is holy. I want to give also double honor to the apostles of Greatmillstone who teach here well, where I got this truth from the left to the right. That is Apostle Ramlab, the head Apostle Tahar, Apostle Rawchaa, and Apostle Kabar. And I want to also give salutations to the hopefully elect scattered all across the world. We are the Hebrew Israelite that consists of the 12 tribes of Israel. The so-called Negroes is the tribe of Judah. The so-called West Indians is the tribe of Benjamin. The so-called Haitians is the tribe of Levi. The so-called Dominicans are the tribe of Simeon. The so-called Guatemalans to the Panamanians is the tribe of Zebulon. The so-called Puerto Ricans is the tribe of Ephraim. The so-called Cubans is the tribe of Manasseh. The so-called North American Indians is the tribe of Gad. The so-called tribe of Simenole Indians is the tribe of Reuben. The so-called tribe of the Argentinian to the Chileans is the tribe of Napthali. The so-called Colombians to the Uruguayans is the tribe of Asher. The so-called Mexicans is the tribe of Issachar.
Ladies and gentlemen, a new narrative is rolling out right now, one which describes a new crisis, a crisis which dwarfs in terms of societal and economic impacts COVID-19. COVID-19, for which we shut down the entire economy and locked people in their homes. What could possibly be more socially and economically impactful than that? Let's talk about it. I'm Christian, and this is the Ice Age Farmer broadcast.
I believe that there will be another crisis. It will be more significant, and we need to actually start preparing for that now. When we do see this next crisis, it will be faster than what we've seen with COVID. The exponential growth rate will be much steeper. The impact will be greater. And as a result, the economic and social implications will be even more significant.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore, rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had about a short time. And yeah, Esau's coming down hard with it. So this current situation, this second lockdown with the Crown Royal 19 situation, it's going to be much worse what is about to come, and that's why 2021 is going to be much worse. The Apostle Tahar made this year year of 2020 the year of prophecy, and the prophecies are popping out of everywhere, shining bright. You can see the prophecies if you are a spiritual man, So yeah, man, we can expect a lot more in 2021. This is gonna be, people are gonna lose it there, man.
Even more significant, what is this next crisis that we just heard Jeremy Jurgens, Harvard-educated managing director of the World Economic Forum, describing? Well, now let's hear from Klaus Schwab himself.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world, to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And yeah, man, this time is, if you think this was worst, the Crown Royal and the second lockdown, wait what is going to happen in 2021, man. It's going to be much worse, man, because a lot of people are dependent on electricity. You need it, hospitals, public transportation. Hey, a lot of people are working from them home now with this crisis, with this pandemic, A lot of people are working from home, so if it's gonna be a power outage, it is over, man. A lot of people gonna lose it, no money. A lot of people gonna lose their life too, man. Especially in these hospitals or our respirators and all kinds of machines, So it's gonna be really bad, man. You cannot store food in your refrigerator because everything is done, man. And that is that great reset. Verse 22, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Hey, Yahawah, Shem Yahawashi, man. That we are one of the hopefully elect, man. That's why he shortened the days, because if you look into the 2019, nobody was expecting this. I was seeing some footage from people who was celebrating New Year, and they was talking about 2020 goals and all these things. It's all gone, man. The mirth is gone, man. It is gone. People cannot plan nothing anymore, man. That's why people are losing it, Because things how it was in 2019 is never coming back for nobody, man. And these people, they have a hard time to cope with it, man. Hey, but it's good, man, because a lot of people are really living like demons on this earth, man. Not following the laws of Yahawah, Shem Yahawashi, man. That's why the Most High shortened the days for the elect's sake, man. Because meanwhile, people was partying. I was studying and listening to the apostles. Then on New Year, he said, "This is the year of prophecies, 2020, man." And he marked it like that. And see what's happened, man. And it is not over. We got a month to go, man. And things just waxing worse and worse. So hey, all praises to Yahawah, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Rawchaa, Qadash. Let's continue further.
Yes, a cyber pandemic. And before we even talk about what that is, I just want to again appreciate that we just heard two leaders of the World Economic Forum promise that we are going to have a new crisis soon that dwarfs COVID, which has already spelled the end of the world as we know it. So this is something severe, and we need to take notice. This is much bigger than the Project for a New American Century, anticipating a new Pearl Harbor, or the Event 201 expecting a pandemic, or even the food chain reaction game describing the food shortages we're seeing now after a pandemic. Each of these events involved lots of multinational companies coming together for a tabletop exercise, outlining the changes they wished to implement anyway, their agenda. And then, when these crises occur, seizing the opportunity to execute on those agendas. That's exactly what's happening here. So the whole premise here, you can see it, look, it's the same language template even. Quote, like the pandemic, cybercrime does not respect borders or ideologies. No one organization can fight it alone. That's the exact copy as from the food chain reaction game. Because global problems require global solutions, and that's where these globalists walk in with their altruistic sounding philanthropic objectives and then execute on their agenda.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. And you see, man, everything is coming out, even before it's coming out, things start to happen. They already start to prepare you with that predictive program that it's going to happen. Also with that, with the Crown Royal, Salaki, with the Crown Royal thing, you know. The first lockdown, there was already been talking about the second wave is gonna come, you know, and yeah, man. So people are really depressed. There's a lot of high rate of suicide everywhere, you know. They don't talk a lot about these things, you know, but a lot of people are really depressed because they have no hope. They have no comfort in the scriptures. We know what's going on, you know. We the men who believe in the Yahawah by Hashem Yahawashi, but these people have no hope. Nothing, man, you know. So yeah, it's really going down hard, you know. So they said that this crisis is gonna be worse than the Crown Royal crisis what we are in now, in the current crisis, Salaki, you know. So yeah, we live in beautiful times, you know. Yahweh B'Hashem Yahawashi B'Hashem Rawchaa Qadash.
So the whole premise here for why 2020 is now a cybersecurity, you know, why is this all of a sudden happening, is because due to COVID, people are forced to work from home. And these people, you know, there's an increased security surface. People don't understand security practices. They're writing down passwords on sticky notes and who knows. And so as a result, everyone is much more vulnerable in 2020. Now, this is true to some extent, but when you look at the players that were coming together for the 2020 Cyber Polygon event. Again, it's just like Event 201 and the Food Chain Reaction game. It's a tabletop exercise describing how organizations can react to this new cyber crime rich environment of the 2020s, of this new normal. One of the chief people involved in this whole Cyber Polygon effort was Salesforce. Here is their chief trust officer describing how we really need to take cybersecurity differently in the new normal. Here's a report from Accenture doing the same thing. The Threatscape report from Accenture talks about in the 2020s, no one could have anticipated what's going on. We have unprecedented circumstances opening the door to innovative cybercrime. Accenture is a huge consulting company, and they're one of the main participants of this Cyber Polygon event. Let's look at the others. See if you detect a pattern here. AIG, Bank of America, Credit Suisse, Equifax, the credit rating agency, JP Morgan Chase, MasterCard, PayPal, SWIFT, the International Transactions Clearing Network, UBS, Zurich Insurance Group, a lot of finance and bank players and insurance players there. Also some tech companies like Palo Alto Networks and Salesforce, Amazon Web Services, China Southern Power Grid, Cisco, Cloudflare, HP, Hitachi, Huawei, IBM, Microsoft, Palantir, a surveillance company straight out of CIA funding, PayPal, and then, of course, BlackRock is in there as well.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 64, verse 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. And you see all these companies who are involved in that so-called, yes, I don't want to say the words, but it is the so-called thing what is going on, you know. So, because, you know, they're going to strike me again if I said something else. So yeah, you see a pattern in all these things, and yeah, they're all workers of iniquity, man, you know, because they are the one who created all these, the whole atmosphere and everything what's going on. But it is all through the power of Yahawah B'Hashem Yahawashi, you know, because he let the left hand do what he need to do to fulfill the prophecies, so Yahawashi can step in and end this. And that is where we are waiting for, you know. So yeah, this is yeah, you see all the names, and you see that these are really, these companies are, yeah, they're all involved in a lot of dog things. Like, you ask yourself, PayPal, Amazon, and these are these companies that also pushing really hard that mark of the beast. Amazon won cashless society, what they are pushing, you know. So this is all funded by, you hit Blackstone, CIA, all these things, man. You know, so there's no coincidence that these things is happening. You know, so that's why we asked Yahawah by Shem Yahawashi to hide me from the secret council of the wicked, because eventually, man, it all goes down, and they're coming for the men of the Lord. They're coming for us, you know, because we are preaching His word through the internet, on the highways and the byways, you know. So eventually they are gonna target us, because that is what they want. But hey, this time you ain't gonna get your way like you did before, you know, because the Most High is gonna raise up that standard, you know, and it's gonna be over for you. So yes, these are really, really special times, and let's continue watch this video, and then I'm gonna close out.
Deep state finance central. So you see, we have representatives from a few different areas here, but it seems as if the cybercrime that's being discussed here definitely is finance heavy. And if we're talking, especially the SWIFT network, if we're talking about threats to international transactions, clearings, that affects all financial transactions right now. And so when we hear the rhetoric from Klausy and Jeremy about this is going to be a crisis which dwarfs everything else, it happens ridiculously quickly, and the impacts are off the scale, everyone is affected. And then Klaus goes on to say the power grid goes down, and the banking institutions are all involved. We can see here, banking will be affected.
The book of Psalms, chapter 64, verse 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And that is what's also happening now, because their own, you know, they see what's going on, you know. You see this guy also exposing them, you know, because everybody wants to get away from these elites, you know, these devils, you know, these that pushing at the agenda, and everybody seeing it, and they really start to spill the beans on themselves, because you see who's financing everything, you know. So their own tongue is falling upon themselves. They are creating this chaos, and then they come with the solution, with the order. This is a trick out the book from back in the Roman time, you know. So that is what they're doing, man. And yeah, a lot of people are aware and see what's going on. So that's why a lot of people don't want to be involved anymore with, because also in people who was working with these people, you know, they start to ring the bell and spill the beans, the whistleblowers, and yeah, Edom, his kingdom is going down, man. Even if he tried to do what he's trying to do, but this is the end of his kingdom, man. And he knows it. You know that he got a little time, so he tried to get everybody who he can get to drag them down to his hell, man. The judgment what is gonna come, and that's why they hate us, because we are reading the sentence for him, man, out of the Bible, and that's why they want to ban the Bible also, you know, because the famine of the word is also gonna happen. You heard about what is happening in Scotland. You know, they try to make the Bible a hate speech. So Yahawah Shem Yahawashi is going to judge this place heavy, man, because they are anti-Hamasiach, the Edomites, you know. And this is clear as day, man. You know, that's why this book was never for them. And I always say that, man. I always pounding on that, you know, because they are not walking the way of the Most High. And a lot of people seeing that everything is upside down, man, in this kingdom, you know. And if you say something about it, that's why this time they say to you that you are the crazy one, you know, if you're talking upright. So yeah, man, this is really beautiful. Let's continue further.
I don't want to get too far into high octane speculation, but between the rhetoric and the participants, I think it's fair to say there is an event scripted in the near future to take down one or both the power grid and the finance. President Trump already passed in 2017 Executive Order 13800, which sought to harden our infrastructure, especially critical infrastructure like the power grid, against cyber attacks, almost as if they have some insight into a potential threat along this vector. And then certainly throughout this last 9 months of the pandemic, and it's not just the World Economic Forum that's talking about this, we have been pummeled with predictive programming through the media about the threats to our power grid particularly. Take a look, even most recently from the New York Times, it is the same Russians who hacked the election that are now targeting the power grid in our nuclear plants. You can't... I'm just going to let that sit there. I don't think you can make this up at this point. The propaganda is so thick and dense. They're weaving their Russian hacker story right along into this cybersecurity and power grid story. But again, look at the tapestry that has been woven over these last few months. Hackers are targeting the remote workers who keep your lights on. As I said, now that they're having to work remotely and write down passwords willy-nilly, hackers can target them, and this includes utility companies. Cybersecurity, more important than ever due to COVID-19. This was in May. As time goes on, this is from the World Economic Forum, why COVID-19 is making utilities more vulnerable to cyber attacks and what we can do about it. This is back in April. Again, they've been laying the framework, creating that foundation and establishing the predictive programming. From the Hill in August, officials warn of increasing cyber threats to our critical infrastructure during the pandemic, notably the power grid. Moving on, in September, whether facing a cyber attack or a pandemic, preparation is critical, and we're going to explain why cybersecurity is critical for the utility industry now in the new normal of COVID-19. Even most recently, just at the end of October, cybersecurity is going to be a crucial priority in utility companies' agenda as threats continue to grow amid COVID-19. And then just last week, the U.S. power sector has prevented millions of cyber attacks in 2020, which takes 24/7 commitment. Now they're giving you the sense that these attacks are already happening, that it's constantly happening, and it's only by virtue we're hanging by a thread at any moment. This team of incredibly talented people might actually fail, and then we'd be going back to the Stone Age for some amount of time. So I just wanted to mention that the media has been planting this seed as well. And you need to be aware of this, and we need to be discussing this, trying to keep it from happening by virtue of spreading the word about it, if at all possible. But certainly we need to be bracing for it and understanding exactly who the players are behind it, and that this is absolutely a critical part of the larger Great Reset agenda that the World Economic Forum is out there pushing right now. There's a reason Klaus Schwab is running this event, talking about cybersecurity in 2020 suddenly being a new risk to you. And I will leave it here for tonight because there's so much more to unpack that I couldn't possibly do it justice. So let's open the conversation today, and I rely on you to help me look more deeply into this, to help me spread the word. Those of you who are better credentialed, better spoken than I, let's talk about this. This is an important conversation. Thanks for watching, folks. If you want to find this report and all my reports, they are at icehfarmer.com. If you value this broadcast and the information I'm sharing, please help me keep it running. You can find a few different ways of doing that at icehfarmer.com/support. Thanks for watching, folks. Strengthen your cybersecurity practices and keep growing lots of abundant food and raising awesome animals, and spread the word. Thanks, folks, and be well.
So does that mean that there will definitely be the next crisis, and when it happens, we'll think about the crisis in 2020? So next crisis is inevitable, according to your logic. Is it so?
Yeah, I'm definitely in the camp. I believe that there will be another crisis. It will be more significant, and we need to actually start preparing for that now. And if we take the example of what happened with medical equipment in the European Union, we've been working on the European project for decades now. Yet when a really significant crisis took place, the channels of communication were not in place, the protocols for cooperation were not in place, And people looked inward initially and tried to address it on their own. And, with time now, it's opened back up because the different countries realize that they're not in a position to address it on their own. Even if we look at something as important as vaccine research, this is going to require a global effort from the scientists, from the production of the vaccines to the dissemination. And, what we can do in cybersecurity is make sure that we don't try and rebuild after the attack's already happened, but put those cooperation mechanisms in place already. We're working on this here at the World Economic Forum through our Global Cybersecurity Center. We're working with Sberbank, BI Zones, other institutions as well. So we need to actually start this cooperation and understanding early so that when the crisis does hit, that we're in a position to respond effectively to it. And, I would anticipate that when we do see this next crisis, it will be faster than what we've seen with COVID. The exponential growth rate will climb, be much steeper. The impact will be greater. And as a result, the economic and social implications will be even more significant. So I think it's really important that we don't underestimate the severity of what a crisis like this, the impact it could have. And it's going to take us, all sectors of society and the economy to come together to address that.
With that, I hope you've been edified. I want to give the highest honors and glory to Yahawah, Bahashim Yahawashi, Bahashim Qadash. Shalom.